Once upon a time, in a small town nestled deep in the forest, there lived a man named Samuel. Samuel was known throughout the town as a recluse, rarely leaving his home except to venture into the woods to gather firewood and hunt for food. Despite his solitary nature, Samuel had a reputation for being kind and generous to those who sought his help.
One day, a group of travelers passing through the town stumbled upon Samuel's home and sought shelter from a raging storm. Samuel welcomed them in with open arms, providing them with food, shelter, and warm blankets to ward off the chill. The travelers were grateful for his hospitality and spent the night in his home. As the night wore on, the travelers began to notice strange noises coming from the surrounding woods. They heard the rustling of leaves and the snap of branches, as if something was moving through the trees. Samuel assured them that it was likely just the wind, but the travelers couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister was lurking outside. In the middle of the night, one of the travelers woke up to find Samuel standing at the foot of his bed, staring at him with a cold, dead gaze. The traveler screamed and woke the others, but when they looked around, Samuel was nowhere to be found. They searched the house and the surrounding woods, but there was no trace of him. The travelers were unnerved by the strange occurrence, but they eventually fell back asleep. However, their peace was short-lived, as they were awoken once again by a blood-curdling scream. They rushed outside to find that one of their group had been brutally murdered, his body torn to shreds. Panicked and afraid, the remaining travelers realized that they were trapped in Samuel's home with a killer on the loose. They searched the house once more, but this time they found a hidden room in the basement. Inside, they found evidence of Samuel's true nature. Samuel had been living a double life, preying on unsuspecting travelers who stumbled upon his home. He would lure them in with his kind demeanor and then murder them in their sleep, adding their bodies to a growing collection in his basement. The travelers realized that they were next on Samuel's list and knew they had to escape. They made a break for it, racing through the woods in the middle of the night with Samuel hot on their heels. They were terrified, convinced that they would never make it out alive. But eventually, they stumbled upon a small cabin deep in the woods. The door was unlocked, and they rushed inside, barricading themselves in. As they huddled together, waiting for dawn to break, they heard the sound of footsteps approaching from outside. They braced themselves for the worst, but to their surprise, it was a group of hunters who had heard their screams and come to investigate.
The hunters rescued the travelers and alerted the authorities, who launched a massive manhunt for Samuel. They eventually caught him, and he was sentenced to life in prison for his horrific crimes. The travelers never forgot the terror they experienced that fateful night, and the town of Samuel's home became known as a place to avoid at all costs. To this day, the legend of Samuel lives on as a cautionary tale to those who venture too deep into the woods.